I fished all day for small fish and only caught 7 or 8 in the end. Why? Sigh, it's embarrassing to even say it. A couple of days ago, I went to an old fishing spot. I'd been building up the bait nest there for days, hoping to patiently wait for a big fish. But what happened? Not a single sign of a big fish. Instead, a huge swarm of whitebait showed up, stirring up chaos in the nest like a storm. I thought to myself, well, if big fish aren't coming, catching whitebait isn't so bad. Isn't this just a 3-point question that anyone with hands can handle? But after sitting there fishing for half a day, reeling in until my hands ached, only 7 or 8 lonely fish were left in my keep net. I was so mortified my face turned green. When no one was around, I couldn't help but laugh at myself. Here I am, someone who's fished for years, and I failed at catching whitebait? That night, I kept thinking about it when I got home, trying to figure out what went wrong. Later, I replayed the whole process in my head and realized I'd made 2 stupid, fatal mistakes. Today, I'll share them as a cautionary tale, hoping you won't be as foolish as me. First mistake, I used patience for big fish to wait for whitebait, but whitebait don't wait for you. My biggest problem was the lack of frequency. Since I initially planned to wait for big fish, my usual routine was, set up the bait nest, hook the bait, cast it in, then sit back and wait. This works for carp or crucian carp, but for whitebait? It's totally useless. What are whitebait like? They're like a bunch of hyperactive kids, never staying still for a second. They're lured over by the scent, but if you don't keep up a steady show, they'll look around, get bored, and immediately move on to another spot. The only way to keep these hyperactive swarms in your nest is to constantly give them stimulation. Simply put, you have to keep sprinkling snacks into the water, making them feel like your spot is always raining delicious treats so they won't want to leave. The correct method is to use dry powder bait with good atomization. Every time you cast, pinch a tiny bit onto the hook no bigger than your thumbnail. Then, maintain a high casting frequency, like once every 1 or 2 minutes. This way, your nest will always have atomized particles drifting down, forming a 3-dimensional scent column. The whitebait will get stuck in this column, frantically competing for food. But that day, I hooked the bait, cast it in, and sat there motionless for ages. The fish school came, took a couple of bites, found no new food, and vanished long ago. This is classic lazy fishing. When you're dealing with whitebait, you deserve to catch nothing. Second mistake, the stupidest one, I took it for granted that whitebait only love commercial bait. Lack of frequency alone wouldn't have been this bad. I might have just caught fewer. The real killer was how stubborn I was that day. Like many people, I had a deep-rooted belief, whitebait love fishy sweet commercial bait. So I tried 7 or 8 types of fishy sweet bait, strong fishy, fragrant fishy, sweet fishy, you name it. But they just ignored me, not giving me any face at all. By the end, I was almost ready to give up. With only a few fish in the keep net, I felt ridiculous. I decided to try a last-ditch effort. I dug out a box of dried-up earthworms from my bag and hooked one on to test. Guess what happened? The second the hook hit the water, there was a bite. A clear dip in the float, and I reeled in a fish. For the next half hour, every time I dropped the earthworm in, there was almost immediately a bite, even 2 double catches. All 7 or 8 fish I ended up with were caught in that last half hour with earthworms. That's when I realized how wrong I'd been. Who told you whitebait everywhere love commercial bait? The reservoir I fished has clean water, full of small insects and shrimp. The whitebait there grew up eating these natural wild snacks. You offer them takeout laced with artificial flavorings, and they might just not be used to it. So, fishing really isn't something you can take for granted. Fish in every location have their own local tastes. When you go to a new spot, or an old spot suddenly goes quiet, you need to experiment more. If commercial bait doesn't work, try earthworms. If earthworms fail, try corn. Keep an open mind, don't be stubborn. After this lesson, I finally wised up. Catching whitebait may seem easy, but there's plenty of know-how involved. First, you have to be diligent, using high frequency to keep them around. Second, you have to think carefully to find what they actually want to eat. I hope this tuition fee of 7 or 8 fish wasn't paid in vain and that it serves as a reminder for everyone. About the author, I'm a fishing enthusiast and content creator who loves sharing tips. Follow me to exchange fishing skills and discuss the little details of wild fishing. Give a like, save this post, and follow to never miss future updates.